What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I Used to Be Paying. Today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about why if you get canceled, finished, your career is done, you probably just sucked, bro. I'm not going to lie. You probably just were never really that good. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. Recently, some pictures from Chris Brown's tour were going super viral. And I swear every time he goes on tour, this happens. His pictures from his tour go viral. And it's specifically his meet and greet photos. Because Chris Brown, when he does a meet and greet photo, he goes all out, okay? He's got these women and, he's taking very intimate looking photos. He's hugged up behind them like it's prom night. He might be, cupping their backside a little bit. He's got them in the air. He's hoisting them up. He's doing all types of stuff when he does these meet and greet photos. So they always end up going viral. And that kind of inspired me to make this video because he's charging $1,000 for these VIP meet and greet tickets. And that just made me think to myself, Chris Brown, that's insane. $1,000 for a meet and greet ticket. Think about that. He has hundreds of people. I don't know how many people are in his VIP lines. Probably hundreds of people, maybe 1,000 people. I don't know. But let's just say ballpark over 100, 150 people in every single city that he goes to, which is probably 30 cities in America, paying $1,000 to meet and greet, take a photo with him. Maybe have a 20-second interaction. Oh my gosh, I love your music so much. Chris, can you sign this? Can we do this pose? They do the pose, then they walk off. There are hundreds of people in every city that he goes to paying $1,000 for that experience, for the meet and greet, for the photo. That's insane. That to me shows you can't get canceled if you're really good at what you do. If you really have fans and you're really good at what you do, you can never truly be canceled. The only way you can actually get canceled and your career just be done is if you just aren't that good. There's always conversations about cancel culture and people getting canceled and having to tiptoe around this monster that runs the media in cancel culture. And I've talked about it in the past and how I pretty much don't really believe in it. But even still, even if we're going to just ignore me not really believing in cancel culture, we can just talk about people getting canceled or having those moments where the media outrages and everyone's talking about that person. It happens all the time. Most of those people don't end up losing their career. But if you do lose your career, you probably just sucked. I'm not going to lie. Because with the whole cancel thing, it's normally a package of a couple of things. The first one being a media shadow ban. People aren't really talking about you like that. They don't want to support you anymore. The mainstream media doesn't really support you anymore. Or you might get the Voldemort treatment where nobody wants to say your name in mainstream media, kind of how they did Kanye a couple years ago when he really got into his bag. Let's just say that. You kind of get that Voldemort treatment where they don't speak about you. They don't speak about your work. Maybe you get your name erased from the history books of a certain award. Maybe you won the award in 2004, but they just never talk about that award winner in 2004 ever again. Something like that kind of happens oftentimes. But the thing that happens the most to people is the outrage. People getting a whole bunch of hate, the media writing these massive articles on them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this. There's an article coming out from every single media outlet. People on Twitter are dropping think pieces on you. TikTok is dropping think pieces on you. That's normally what kind of happens with cancel culture. Yet, honestly, if you have a real fan base and you're good at what you do, you're not going to get canceled. You might get dropped by a notch. There may be some certain things that hold you back now, but you're never going to be done where it's oh my gosh, I can never recover from something like this. And while I don't believe in cancel culture in the way that people like to hype it up as this mystical beast that's hunting for its next victim, looking to just destroy whoever's career they can next, there are cancel culture repercussions. And most of the time, it's just the consequences of your own actions. Obviously, if you say something homophobic, the gay community is going to be upset and they're not going to want to support you and they're going to tell other people to stop supporting you. So more times than not, it's just the consequences of your actions. It's not people are losing their entire career for calling something gay or something like that. Honestly, I like to compare cancel culture to car insurance. The more things you do that aren't in line with what the insurance company wants you to do, the higher your rate is going to be, the more it's going to cost you to have car insurance. So you keep getting speeding tickets, your insurance is going to go up. You get a DUI, your insurance is going to go up. you cause an accident, your insurance is probably going to go up. Like it's that type of thing, in my opinion. That's how I see cancel culture. And I brought up Chris Brown at the beginning of this video because he is like one of the main faces of like victims of cancel culture in the hip hop community because of the incident with Rihanna and other incidents that he's had over the years with people like Karrueche and all that stuff. But despite those incidents and the cancellation that followed them, he has had a super successful music career for almost 20 years now. It's almost been 20 years for Chris Brown in his music career, and it's been super successful. The dude has had hit songs almost every year, every other year, hit albums. He's done well-performing tours all over the world, sold out arenas and all that stuff. He's done pretty much everything you could do in terms of having a successful music career, even despite the fact that he's not the media darling that he once was, or he's not the media darling that he probably was going to be because of how marketable he is, how many different areas he can dip into when it comes to his artistry. But despite that, he still even gets recognition from like mainstream media award shows. He still gets award show nominations and actually wins awards at places like the VMAs or iHeart Music Awards or the AMAs or the Grammys or the BET Awards. Like even in the mainstream media outlet award shows, he still gets that recognition. Now, is he ever going to do the Super Bowl halftime show? Probably not. Is he going to have issues with brands every now and then, like the whole thing that he had going on with the NBA Celebrity All-Star Game and Ruffles? Yeah, he's probably going to have that happen a whole bunch. And I'm, again, without a shadow of a doubt, acknowledging the fact that he has been held back in his career because of the cancellation that he's faced, which really is the result of his own actions. But still, the cancellation that he's faced in his career is real. It's definitely held him back. It's definitely held him from going to maybe a different stratosphere in his career. But even despite that, Chris Brown has had one of the most successful music careers anyone could possibly dream of. Chris Brown has had a 0.000001% music career, despite all this cancellation and all that, because he is a good musician and he has a massive fan base. Chris Brown has millions of fans worldwide. So yeah, there's some things that he's never going to be able to do, but having a successful music career is definitely not one of them. Eminem's entire Slim Shady persona was based off of like going against cancel culture. Now, obviously it wasn't called cancel culture 20 years ago. He was just kind of like doing the whole outrage shock type of thing. But Eminem was saying horrible things about his mom and his wife and just other situations, just completely outrageous lyrics. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter that the media was mad at him. It didn't matter that they didn't really want to give him his props or play him on the radio or give him his awards, because he had his fans, and his fans were going to make sure that happened for him because they had so much love and so much support for Eminem. So the media being mad at him, it really didn't matter. It didn't matter that they were disgusted and outraged, because those people who were mad at him and didn't agree with what he was saying and didn't like him, they weren't listening anyways. They weren't the fan base. So you can be mad all you want from outside the club, but the people inside the club, oh, they're loving it. They're having a great time. So that Slim Shady persona was able to thrive because it had a massive fan base and he was good at what he was doing. While on the other end of the spectrum, we have somebody like DaBaby, who was also championed as like this cancel culture victim who fell victim to this and lost his career. And oh my God, DaBaby, it's so sad what happened to him. He was on top of the world in 2019, 2020. He was going crazy. His music was everywhere. He was one of the biggest stars, and not just rap, but in music in general. And nowadays, it's very rare that DaBaby gets any notoriety for pretty much anything. Nobody's really talking about DaBaby. Most people aren't really listening to DaBaby. And a lot of people like to point to that incident at Rolling Loud in 2021 as the moment where his career changed and it was just over for DaBaby. There was no coming back when he made those comments about HIV and basically was trying to insinuate that the LGBTQ fans that were there were like, he was being weird about the whole HIV thing, and just random too. Like nobody had brought it up besides him. Really strange moment. And then he kind of doubled down on it and was like, hey, if they feel that way, I'm sorry, but I don't care. And then he faced a lot of backlash for this. He did. He got a lot of backlash for this. There were some consequences to his actions for sure. People were calling him out. Like it was a big deal. I'm not saying it wasn't a big deal. This was a massive thing back in 2021 when this first happened, and he lost a lot because of it. The main thing that I think DaBaby lost that was the most important, in my opinion, was his kind of connection to the pop world. Now, that's not for me to say he doesn't have it anymore, but it definitely lessened after that incident, because DaBaby was one of those rappers who was massive. He was massive in the rap game, but also in music just in general. And he had a lot of crossover potential. A lot of his music was going viral, yes, in the rap community, but just in the music community in general. Like he had a lot of pop fans, let's just say. And when that happened, a lot of them were turned off by that. And a lot of the pop stars that he was working with or could have worked with in the future no longer wanted to be associated with him because they either had a lot of LGBTQ fans themselves or they wanted to appeal to that crowd and, wanted to have those guys supporting them. So him saying that and doubling down on it really lost a lot of his kind of weight that he was holding in that pop world. A song like Levitating was going super, super crazy at the time. It still went super, super crazy. It still is a massive song to this day, but that was kind of the last fumes of him holding on to that pop world. And that's what he really lost, in my opinion. Not really the rap side of things. Of course, there was some pushback there, but like really the pop world kind of taking away a lot of their support for DaBaby is what he really lost. But DaBaby didn't really fall off because of this incident. He didn't lose his super successful career because of homophobia. He lost it because people just stopped listening to him. He lost his career because he never really had like this massive fan base that was super, super diehard about him. He had people following him because he was kind of a fad. And I'm not saying that the music wasn't good, but it was a fad. It was, let's just be honest. And people just got a little disinterested in what he was doing. He had a formula that worked for a while, but after people had, consumed that formula so much, eventually they were like, all right, we're kind of tired of this. And DaBaby didn't really have anywhere to go after that. Now, I'm not going to get up here and say DaBaby sucked, okay? Because that's gassing it, all right? He is good in moments. He's shown me that he can be good. Like his feature on Donda, that was fire. That was amazing. His feature on the Dreamville album, that was amazing. So he's shown me he has the capability to be good, but DaBaby just isn't anything crazy. Like, let's be honest. He's nothing crazy. He's nothing that you're missing out on if you're not like, he's cool, I guess. But like, he's just not that good to where no matter what happens with him, he's going to always have a decent support base. Of course, you can be knocked down a couple notches, but you're never really out of the fight when you have a really big and supportive fan base. And he doesn't really have that. And he did lose his kind of into the mainstream pop world. He lost that. Let's be real. He did. But that wasn't the space that he was going to be maintaining for a majority of his music career. We all knew that. He was going to tap into the pop world here and there, do some features, maybe get on a song with like a Billie Eilish down the line. I don't know, something like that. He was going to tap in probably like a Sabrina Carpenter. I could have seen that collab happening. He was going to tap into the mainstream pop world, but that wasn't going to be the main world that he inhabited. So yes, he lost support there, but that's not even his main audience. With his main audience, let's be real. He did not lose them because of homophobia. We're not going to sit up here and act like rap fans have become social justice warriors and we're just super, super politically correct when it comes to who we listen to, and we won't listen to that artist if they're homophobic. Stop it. Rap is not like that. Hip hop is not like that. The fans aren't like that. That's not why he lost his fans. If anything, that might have gotten him like more support because people in the rap fan base do stuff like that. So that's not the reason why, okay? And I'm going to ask you, the person watching this video, and I'm going to ask myself this question. I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask you as well and myself. Be honest. Did you stop listening to DaBaby because he said something homophobic? No. That's the answer is no. All right, you don't have to, come on now. We don't have to front. The answer is no. A majority of hip hop fans did not stop listening to him because of that. They just stopped listening to him because they didn't like his stuff anymore. Now, there are hip hop fans who would have, but I'm just saying on a worldwide scale, that's probably not what happened for the most of hip hop fans. Because I guarantee you right now, despite all the cancellation that he faced and how it was so unfair and it ruined his career, if DaBaby was dropping amazing music, nobody would care. People would just be going and listening to it. Nobody would be sitting there like, man, this song is fire, but he did say that homophobic thing one time. No, people don't care about that stuff. So it just goes to show, if you're really good at what you're doing, if you're really like that, if you really have a fan base, cancel culture doesn't affect you, bro. It doesn't. Let me take it back. It does affect you, but it's not going to end your career. We can even look at a recent example, very, very recent. Look at Kanye in 2024. Kanye literally became in 2022 and was spewing that type of rhetoric everywhere he went. He went on a podcasting world tour. He lost everything. He lost his deal with Adidas. He lost his deal with Gap. He lost his bank. He's not able to get on a record label anymore. He lost everything that you probably possibly could, to the point in which he's completely on his own now. The media was trashing him. Everyone was going against him. All his friends was looking like this when you asked about him. I mess with Ye, but I don't know what he talking about. They was doing that. He lost everything that you pretty much can realistically lose from the outside world looking in. Obviously, family and stuff. But I mean, like, stuff that's like on the outside, he lost all of it. All of it. And he comes back with Vultures in 2024 and goes #1 when he drops the album. The album sells like over 153K first week, something like that. Over 150K first week. Then a couple weeks down the line, Carnival ends up going #1. Independent, no media backing, no label. No label would even pick him up for this album. Kanye West, one of the biggest rappers of all time. Labels were looking the other way. They had their masks on like he was the plague. They didn't want anything to do with the guy. They wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. And he still went #1, independent, had a #1 song, independent. He went all around, well, not all around, but he went around America and in parts of Europe doing a listening party, listening party, and sold out these arenas just for a listening party. He's not even performing. They're just playing the music, and Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign are like in the middle of the stage just kind of dancing, and, you know, his kids come out and they're dancing. Like, this is a listening party. This isn't even an actual performance, and he's selling out these venues. These venues are still taking Kanye. Because they're like, you know what? He did say that stuff in 2022 and, you know, he's got some questionable behavior, but man, these tickets are moving. You see what he just did in Chicago? I don't agree with what he said, but we gonna let him use this venue. It does not matter. It doesn't matter because he's Kanye. He might not be able to do all the media things. The media is never going to show him love ever again in the way that they would have showed him love maybe 15 years ago. But he's still able to have a wildly successful career past the age of 40 because he has a fan base that loves him and he's good at what he does. That's really all it takes. And I actually went to one of these listening parties because I've never seen Kanye live. I wanted to see what all the hype was about. Of course, I'm a huge Kanye fan, but I've never seen him live. Even though he's not going to be performing, I wanted to see why everyone was going to these listening parties. So I went and I seen the merch line wrapped around the building. I seen people sprinting to their seats when they thought the show was about to start. I seen crazy stuff, and he's not even performing. It's literally just you and 20,000 other people listening to his music on a speaker. It's literally an aux party. And what's so crazy is when they played the song Vultures and the song got to the part where he says, how I'm anti-Semitic, I just effed a Jewish girl. When it gets to that part, they pause it, or they don't pause it, but they mute it, and the entire arena sung that bar. I'm not joking. The entire arena. R. Kelly literally got convicted of sex crimes and still gets his music played to this day. That's the ultimate cancellation. That's actually being canceled. The man got sent to jail. His account got banned in real life. He got sent to prison because of the stuff he did. That's real cancellation. And I guarantee you, if you say something bad about R. Kelly in front of one of your family members that's 45 plus, they gonna start playing defense like the 85 Bears. They gonna start deflecting like they're Bruce Lee. Because, hey man, you know, he might have did this, but I love Step in the Name of Love. He might have did this, but I don't know, man. The remix to Ignition do be hitting. He might have been on video with that little girl, but when they play Same Girl, I ain't gonna lie, I be dancing. Like, this is the type of conversation that you have with people in real life because cancellation doesn't really matter. It doesn't. Morgan Wallen said the N-word like 2 or 3 years ago and got canceled and this big media outrage. Oh my God, Morgan Wallen. Oh, his label put him on like timeout or something. They put him on a suspension, something like that. And then two or 3 years later after the incident, he goes on to have the biggest year of his music career ever. And arguably has one of the best years in music in 2023 of all musicians, maybe outside of Taylor Swift. Like, it just doesn't matter. Playboi Carti got arrested for DV like a year or two ago. The case got dropped, so I guess, we don't know what happened. You can't say he did it, technically, but like the case got dropped, right? He had a DV case and a mugshot came out. The reaction to the mugshot was, oh my God, look how cool he is. Look how much aura Playboi Carti has. That was his fan base's reaction. Look at his aura in this mugshot. They were making it their profile picture. Like, if you had a successful and booming career in whatever you were doing, you was just going crazy, and then you get canceled and it's just over. you just kind of suck, bro. You were never really like that, all right? You probably sucked, all right? I'm just being real. Now, you can get knocked down some notches. You can get held back from whatever you were going to do. You can not be able to go through that door now because you got canceled, or that door. You might not be able to get a brand deal with Disney. You might not be able to show up at the Nick Teen Choice Awards or go on TikTok and be boosted by TikTok or whatever. You might be held back in certain situations in certain places. But if your career is now over, you probably just weren't like that, bro. I'm just be honest, because cancel culture does not finish your career unless the people who actually support you don't want to support you anymore. And I don't even know what that takes anymore in 2024. We've seen people do the worst and still have followers. So I don't know what that bar is. I don't know what that line is, but it's got to be something super, super nasty, or you just stop being good at whatever you were doing. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. If you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to all those things. It helps me out a ton. I go by the name of Pay. Have a good day. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace.